And I'm joined this morning in our classroom by pharmacist Eric Geyer. Eric is a retail pharmacy manager there in Brecksville, Ohio, and he is a graduate of the University of Toledo. And Eric, welcome. And I just wanted to bring you on because you have created for yourself a pretty wide following on social media. And that has taken a number of turns, one of which was with this latest COVID-19 crisis. And so I just wanted to bring you on a little bit to talk to our audience about some of the things that drove you to create some of the social media platforms that you have, and you can tell us a little bit about some of those platforms.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Kevin. So actually Steve Meyer helped create it, and he kind of asked me to hop along with the pharmacy staff for COVID-19 support. And I just kind of leveraged my network through social media with a political pharmacist, whether it be on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, what have you. And just my large network of pharmacist friends, a big part of Kappa Psi pharmaceutical fraternity, and having just thousands of different brothers like that across the country, I kind of reached out to them, and they all helped kind of make it spread like wildfire to where it is today. And at last I checked, there's over 40,000 people in that pharmacy staff group for COVID-19 support. And we've just been blowing up with the amount of resources we've had in there and stories shared that even made it into some of the media outlets from things people shared in that group.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eric, and I've noticed, can you give us an example of some of the things that have made it into like some of the popular sources of media that we see kind of day to day in pharmacy? And I think this is fascinating because this is really grassroots stuff. This is stuff that pharmacists have created, issues that pharmacists have uncovered, and then that's been picked up by big media networks and they've kind of run with it. So can you give me a few examples of that?
Yeah, the biggest one has to be the hydroxychloroquine issue. Several pharmacists reached out on there saying that, hey, we're seeing prescribers, whether it be doctors, nurse practitioners, whoever, self-prescribing this in huge quantities and like trying to stockpile it, writing for 180, 360 tablets for themselves without really like having a pre-existing condition. And on top of the fact, self-prescribing really is frowned upon, if not illegal in most states. And we kind of shared that with the Ohio Pharmacists Association, who kind of helped put that in the limelight and get that into, I think it was in the New York Times, I think it was in Bloomberg, that was in several major media outlets, and really caught wildfire. That was probably the biggest one. The other thing that kind of made a lot of press in that was the ask for plexiglass barriers. We were kind of the first to be out there doing that and really asking for that. And we've seen every major chain step up and put in plexiglass barriers. It might not have been a large part to it because of us, but I think that helped speed up the process at least to keep people protected, because we did see pharmacists and technicians who are coming down sick with this, and we still are today, but at a much slower rate than what you're seeing with what it could be given the transmission rate of pharmacy.
Absolutely. So Eric, finally, you are right there in the middle of kind of this whole COVID-19 in the retail pharmacy sector, as are many of the people, pharmacists who are members. So what do you see as the biggest challenges for a retail pharmacist right now?
The biggest challenge I see is just the patient interaction factor. Like, that's what we made our bread and butter on. That's what we counsel people on. But having to put up that physical barrier creates a lot of issues at times where people try and either duck their head around it, reach around it, or they're handing us money right under it in the little opening. We're trying to do what we can to keep ourselves protected, whether it be wearing gloves for that one transaction and throwing them out, or immediately washing your hands afterwards, and just trying to keep everything clean, because you never know who's walking in the door. It could be someone who's COVID positive. It could be a lot of people who don't even like have symptoms and are just latently passing it on, and we don't know that. So you have to treat everyone like they're sick, which is very different to the epidemic of like the early 90s and 80s when we had to deal with AIDS, when it was more of a bloodborne thing. This one is truly silent and can be passed by just talking to somebody. So it's very different, but by far that's our biggest obstacle in retail, because if we've seen many stores get shut down from people and pharmacists going out sick for detailed cleaning, and if we're not there, we can't help the community.
Right. Absolutely. So I guess, Eric, the last piece of this is I know a lot of pharmacists may not have heard about your social media pages and may be interested in checking you out. So how do they do that? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so me personally, I'm on Facebook, just my name, Eric Geyer. But you can reach my social media presence with the Political Pharmacist. It's on Facebook at Political Pharmacist. You just put it right in there. Podcast, every podcast platform it's on now, it just the Political Pharmacist podcast. Twitter, it's at political_rx, and it's the same thing on Instagram. Or you can reach out to the pharmacy support, pharmacy staff support for COVID-19 on Facebook, and you can find us there too with a large group for COVID-19 concerns.